The gaming industry is just a joke now. A hobby that used to unite people has turned into a cold piece of corporate business. They only dream of milking more money out of people, handing us soulless products and treating players like a naive flock of sheep. Look, Sony is killing physical media, but do you think that's the limit? No, this is just probably the beginning. If there are no discs, there's no need to make consoles either. Let everyone connect to the cloud with just a gamepad in their hands and play on their TV. And Sony's probably thinking to themselves, why the hell not? We have a massive player base, they'll buy it anyway, we already got them hooked on our services. And Google Stadia looks like a bunch of losers compared to Sony trying to jump in without having any player base. Or for example, Bethesda rolled out a roadmap where they revealed absolutely nothing new. Maybe work is boiling inside, and with Asher's arrival, she's definitely lit the furnace. But what Bethesda told us, already knew or at least understood. Now instead of Elder Scrolls like it was in 2018, Fallout 5 is in their long-term plans. Except of course, given the Fallout spin-off to Obsidian, which Bethesda should have done a long time ago. Or what about the absurd news that the top version of the Neo 2 will cost more than $5,000? That's an insane price. But even the base model starts at $3,000. I have a few different topics to discuss, but let's take it step by step. So when might Sony ditch hardware? You can only answer this by understanding why they would ditch it. I stumbled upon a headline on Push Square, and the article says they may as well eliminate the hardware too. Japanese dev says Sony doesn't understand the feeling of fans. For fans, being able to keep a game they love as an object can have a great deal of value. It becomes a memory or a keepsake connected to something that matters to them. If they're going to go as far as eliminating physical packages, they may as well eliminate the hardware too. A television would be enough. When Sony finally cancels discs, why not cancel console production altogether? Your games will run from the cloud, your saves will be in the cloud. And how much profit will they make from PS Plus subscription? A ton. And what if they make different subscription tiers with different storage volumes and prices? Basically, the future looks like a digital slavery to me, with no real alternatives. What's the point of making consoles if there are no discs for them? Digital stores exist, cloud saves exist, cloud gaming is growing, and the cost of manufacturing hardware is only rising. You've probably heard the news that PlayStation servers went down. It was on July 26. The servers were dead for 6 hours. Maybe some of you even dealt with this. People couldn't access their cloud saves, and I'm not even talking about online gaming. People couldn't even launch single-player games, because digital versions require authentication. And the reason for all of this is one thing: AI. Do you know how many data centers there are just in America? More than 4,500 facilities. They all need parts. And this demand is growing massively and will keep growing. If leaks are to be believed, the PS6 went up in production cost by $200, from $760 to $960. And did you see $5,300 for a handheld? The hardware market isn't just broken, it's a scam. The top tier Neo 2 will cost $5,300. And the base version $3,000. Before digital slavery takes over and PlayStation and Xbox abandon hardware, the industry is going to squeeze every last drop out of gamers. I personally thought ROG Ally was expensive, but look, it's sold out. But the Neo 2 is going to be even more absurd. It's a product for enthusiasts with unlimited budgets. There's a difference between a premium mass product and sheer absurdity. But these hardware prices make it look like all hardware will soon become a luxury. And playing games from the cloud via subscription will be for the masses, because buying a device will be disproportionately expensive for normal people. And I just want to say that this kind of premium status is completely unjustified. The number of AAA games coming out each year is shrinking just to flex on these devices. AA games aren't as resource hungry, but even $3,000 for a handheld is madness. And this isn't just Chinese whim, it's a symptom of a disease infecting the whole industry. The market is so unpredictable right now that soon there won't even be AA games or studios left to run on such expensive devices. The developers of Frostpunk and the Alters 11-bit studios fired almost 20 people. We need to adjust new project teams to current needs, manage our expenses carefully, and maintain cost discipline. We had to make the difficult decision to part ways with around 20 employees. Let me translate this to you. We are screwed. We can't keep talent on the team during pre-production. Even in mid-sized studios, staff have become disposable. You do your part of work, you're out. But back to PlayStation. Fun fact. Right now, Sony's margin on PS5 sales still hovers around 0 to 5%. So you could say that all the hate directed at Sony about price hikes is just loud, pointless hype. After all, Sony is just trying not to go into the red, and their hardware sales margin is still incredibly small. But the situation could change drastically because according to Sony's statement, as a principle, we do not intend to sell hardware at significant losses, which to me reads as we want to raise the profit margin on PS6 sales so much that it drains players' wallets even more. So don't be surprised when in the PS6 generation Sony offers you a shift to the cloud to gradually prepare the audience for a complete transition. And you know what else is absurd? Forbes or Kotaku headlines about Jensen Huang visiting Sega in Japan, supposedly just to thank Sega for saving Nvidia in 1995 and reminisce about their history. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang pays tribute to Sega during visit to Tokyo. Nvidia thanks Sega for $5 million investment that saved it, as it now unleashes Armageddon on the gaming industry. And they really are unleashing it. These headlines tell a cute story, but they leave out the real reason why Huang actually went to Japan. The thing is, AI doesn't just require powerful chips. That's no longer a problem. Those chips exist. These data centers need energy in insane amounts. And who else but Japan has the tech, and where else can these chips be sold? During his Tokyo visit, Huang gathered more than 30 executives from 16 major firms to discuss how Japan's semiconductor supply chain could support an AI-led expansion. Nvidia is no longer a company that makes graphics cards for gamers. That's too small for them. They moved on to producing GPUs for data centers, and they are selling them in Japan. This all leads to one logical conclusion: the complete or partial disappearance of consoles. Why? Because as computing power grows and the cost of home hardware becomes astronomically high, all computations will happen in the cloud, just like game streaming. Of course, no existing GPU accelerator in data centers is going to run massive games of the future. There will be a separate chip of a new family. Plus, having hundreds of thousands of players playing simultaneously requires more power than power plants can currently provide. But the trend is already visible. The testing of technologies for future console projects is already in full swing. And do you know where this leads us? We had trends of inclusivity in games. We had a trend of buying up tons of studios and bloating staff numbers during the pandemic. And now we have the AI trend. And as you may have noticed, trends tend to deflate and burst. The AI bubble is subject to the same consequences. Sony and Xbox are literally preparing for the industry to shake like it's having a seizure. And what we're seeing now is just the tip of the iceberg. And here's why. Stopping the production of discs is the first step in gaining total control over cash flow. It completely removes scalpers from the disc distribution chain. Now all products will be strictly sold directly from the store into the hands of a single user. The cost of hardware will inevitably rise, and this will inevitably hit sales. So why spend huge sums of money manufacturing consoles when you can just sell access to your services and the ability to play games? And all you need for access is a gamepad. Here's what will happen next. Cloud services, hardware, AI models, they require massive investments, over $400 billion, and the profit from them is still several times lower. So once it becomes clear to corporations that building data centers isn't paying off, turning AI into a printing press for games didn't work because AI models hit a wall of unification, it's like how so many studios use Unreal Engine now and all the games look the same. At that moment, investors will stop funding this trend. Component prices will stop being so high, but producing them won't bring enough profit either. But wait, why would Sony stop producing consoles then? First, console is a barrier to entry into ecosystem. Second, it's always low margin sales. And third, a drop in the cost of servers and components is more profitable for Sony. They can buy even more servers for game streaming and cloud services. And in this regard, the best method for Sony and Xbox would logically be a complete shift to digital. It's a total protection from any market shocks. They will get money from subscriptions and service access. As Asha Sharma said, every app will be an AI experience, because apps are the most stable in this regard and they generate profit. The gaming industry right now isn't looking for breakthroughs, innovations, or amazing stories. The industry is trying to be as predictable as possible with steadily growing profits. It's also trying to protect itself from risks. So when PlayStation says they will continue to develop live service games, which pisses everyone off and causes an uproar, there's a logic to it from a business perspective. They want to build the ultimate shield with constant revenue, just like Xbox did by buying Activision. It's an impenetrable shield against crisis. The only problem is that this plan completely ignores the interests of the gaming community. Players are simply presented with the fact: if you want to play live service games, pay for subscription and access. If you don't want to, go find another hobby. After Sony announced they were ditching discs starting in 2028, I decided to go back to buying discs from resellers. Sure, it won't save me in the future, but honestly, looking at the gaming experience PlayStation is offering right now, it doesn't seem thrilling to me. And Steam looks like a more attractive place to play than ever before. Games used to be shown and then released a couple of years later. Bethesda, for example, showed Oblivion in 2004 and released it in 2006. They showed Skyrim in 2010 and released it in 2011. But now they show us a text announcement, not to give us a celebration or a surprise, but to smooth over the news about company layoffs. You know, the 7th generation of consoles, despite the Xbox's red ring of death, or the PS3's idiotic architecture, or the underpowered Wii, was memorable simply because there were so many breakthrough games, and not just in terms of graphics. There were so many interesting stories and cool gameplay mechanics. Games were sold on discs and they were part of our collections. They had value. That generation was the peak of gaming industry. And yes, there was the PS4 generation where the console gave us great games, but I can say the feeling of the 8th generation surpassed the 7th. In the 2000s, games wanted to surprise us and wanted to be remembered. Now AAA games are made purely to generate a steady profit. The very idea of making an entertaining product has been shoved by major publishers into the deepest cave in Skyrim and forgotten. The goal now is to squeeze us dry. Subscriptions bring in more profit and involve the fewest overhead costs. In the end, we'll just be left with services like Amazon Luna and AI slop like Courtroom Chaos with Arnold Schwarzenegger.